Okay, so we are here in a plus 26 Neltharus, and I thought it would have been cool to record this because we have something weird. The color of one of the DPS is orange instead of blue, or teal, I should say. We have no mage, we have a feral druid. The reason why we have a feral druid is because it's his key, of course. Now let's try to get past this first chain break. Jesus Christ. Okay, that was spooky, as usual. I think my last 3 Neltharus keys have actually been depleted here. Usually the tank picks up all of this and dies, and then leaves. So we are already making progress compared to the previous tries of this key. It's normal here to save your cooldowns because of course all of them are supposed to die with the chains except for the big guys, so you're saving them for this pull that you will be going for now. The early pulls of this dungeon are the hardest ones because you have the thaumaturges that are very dangerous because of this thing right here. Jesus, that hurts. So that's who you want to focus, especially when you have a double pool of thaumaturges that can use the single target nuke at the same time on 2 different players. That gets really difficult to deal with. It's actually good though, because this part is like the toughest part when it comes to Thrash, probably in the entire dungeon, having to go through the thaumaturges clean without deaths, without wipes, maybe, you know, 1 death at best. If you can get through this, you know, you have a chance of clearing the key. It would have been much worse if you had to do this right before the last boss, right? So you reach the last boss with a good timer and then you die like 7 times to this Thrash and the key is done. You wasted 25 minutes for nothing. At least in this key you get to do this in the first 5 minutes, so you know if you have a chance at least. It's probably the last of these spooky pulls because it's the last with the double thaumaturge pull, so there is risk of a lot of single target damage on certain players. Which is also kind of the strength of a Holy Paladin, you know? We're going through this pull and I still have my Daybreak and Divine Toll, which I just used, and then I still have Tears Deliverance to be able to use. So you have a lot of options to spike heal certain players, except for the priest who just dies. Can't say it was too much his fault since he has 0 defensives, as you can see from his cooldowns. He has nothing right now. My mistake, as I just forgot to use my potion at the start of this key. Usually I use the AoE potion when we get these big pulls with a Guardian Druid. I just forgot this time. I'm using it late. This boss in Fortified after like 5 sets of nerfs is pretty chill. Unless players start getting one-shot by the lava waves, then it becomes pretty slow because the AoE is gonna keep stacking up in damage and do more and more. So as long as nobody dies from the waves, it should be fine. Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but looks like nobody this time is gonna die from the waves, which is good. Last one before he should die, hopefully. Not happy about having to use Daybreak here, but we were a bit slow on this one. Probably because we pulled him with Thrash, so yeah, I guess it's understandable. So just 1 death so far. The pace has been okay. So far there has been no tragic event, despite missing a Fire Mage for a Feral Druid, which is doing good damage, you know. Ferals in AoE are doing fine overall. Why are they aggroing me? Ah? Not sure what happened, actually. Alright, take two. I don't even want to use my beacons now. I wanna wait until it's through. Okay, now I can. Alright, let's chain them up. Boom. Okay, nobody's dying now. Good. Oh shit, 10 stacks, 11. Oh. No, it wasn't the priest's fault. He timed it. He timed it okay. It's just I had the bleed on me, so I was taking extra damage. I could have bubbled, honestly, with 10 stacks of bursting. Well, I was just saying a couple of minutes ago, it was going fine with just one death so far. Now we have 8. 8 with a soft reset of the pool. We weren't actually doing damage to the pool, so it's not that we lost time in doing damage, but still, it was a reset. We lost probably a couple of minutes for doing this. This boss, Chargat, is another example of the things that Exodia can bring beyond just, you know, the damage they do or the power of the tanks, etc, etc. The bleed that he does can be cauterized, inflamed away by the evoker, and then the second bleed can be bopped, and then the third bleed can be cauterized, inflamed again, because it's gonna happen 1 minute, over 1 minute after, so the cooldown is gonna come back. So effectively you can ignore the first 3 bleed mechanics of this fight and only worry about the 4th one, which you can save your sack for when it happens, so it's pretty handy. It would get, of course, even better if it could target the bleed on the healer, but he doesn't, so I can't use my bubble to clear it. I only have to save bop, which I'll use now. Now, usually in Fortified you can get 2 at the same time, like we are doing now. It gets a bit trickier in Tyrannical, of course, but well, as long as it's Fortified, it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Now it's when the third bleed comes out and Cauterizing Flame should be off cooldown again, so should be cleared again. Here I'm trying to use Daybreak and Divine Toll to heal the chains, but I also want to save my multi Holy Shock cast on the boss because it takes extra damage. So yeah, now I have okay, now I have a couple of multi-casts on the boss, which is cool for more damage. Yeah, so in Fortified, he, at least at this level, he won't get to cast the 4th bleed, so he basically ignored an entire mechanic just because of this comp. The only spooky part about this set of pools are the Bontenders because of the bleed they can put on you. The skull lax thing throw, which can be very dangerous in Fortified. It ticks for a lot of damage. Nice Master Spell. We had 9 stacks there. At least this time it was timed enough. That was cool. Yeah, it's perhaps not talked about too much when it comes to the benefits of having a priest and having Master Spell, because usually bursting is not that big of a deal. Like, even if you don't have Master Spell, but in Neltharus where you have chains, it's gonna be actually common to get 10 plus kills at the same time with chains, which means you are taking like 800,000 damage from bursting if you don't have Master Spell. So it's a legitimate must-have in Neltharus. If you're doing high keys with chains, you just need to have Master Spell to get rid of the dots, or you're gonna die, basically. Here we are about to approach, not yet, but we are almost there to the other rougher part of Thrash on this dungeon in Fortified, which is the part with the flares. The elementals that spam their cast is their, what's that, melt? Yeah, it's very dangerous in Fortified because it hits for 400,000 damage. So at this level, so at this key, every time you don't interrupt their spam cast, you get hit for 400k. So you basically, considering you can dodge everything else, it's okay to let one cast. But if two are casting at the same time and they are targeting the same player, that player is gonna die. So that's where it gets dangerous. In particular, the pull we are about to do, which is usually at this level split into two. So you don't take 4 of these because it gets really dangerous. Instead, you only take 2 of these elementals and you leave the other 2 for another pull. So at least for now, it's good that after the 7 deaths in a row debacle early on, we have been going somewhat steady after that without too many mistakes. Now we are about to pull another dangerous one because now we have 2 flares, but we also have a bone splitter, which is gonna cast the axe on me, which hurts like a truck. It's ticking for like 110k per tick every second, which is dangerous. Again, I had bubble, but I was greeding to save it. And I was talking about the dangers of that ability, the axe dot. I think it's better if we move from here because we are like losing each other and we are covered in lava. So if we can move, yeah, goddamn axe, lots of damage on that ability. Again, with the double flare pull, just making sure they don't get to cast twice on the same target and you should be fine. You should have the time to heal the one target that gets hit, as long as it's just one cast. Right now we're not letting any through, which is pretty good. Oh, there is one on the priest. No. Now we only have one interrupt though. It was on the tank, luckily. This cast is also on the tank. So, pretty lucky as well with the RNG. Yeah, that hits hard. This is a pretty convenient pull because the big guy here only does one source of unavoidable damage, which is this one right here. And then you have the lava barriers, which do 0 damage, because all they do is spawn lava that you can just dodge. So effectively, it's a free pull, basically, for especially for DPS players that can just damage. This boss is quite nice for healers, unless the priest just almost kills himself before this ability. It's quite nice because it has a very predictable cadence of damage, right? He's gonna be doing the big AoE followed by the bouncing shield over and over again, so you can always predict the damage. There is very little you can fail and take free damage, which is this thing right here. So as long as you don't get hit by these meteors, the damage is always the same, which is very good for a healer to handle, because you always know what's gonna happen. First the AoE, then the shields, and that's it. And then just repeat it. So the job is to make sure everyone is at full HP by the time he does the next AoE. And in the meantime, you can try to do some damage. Whoops! Someone died. That was pretty quick. I didn't even see what it was about. Timer is pretty lenient actually. We have 7 minutes 40 with just 11% left, which is done with the last chain of the dungeon. You pull a whole bunch of stuff together with the bird. That's the last thrash we're gonna do in this dungeon. The bird is amongst the mobs that cannot be damaged by the chains, but everyone else is gonna die. You can also nicely pull it around here because you can actually lose the damage of the bird. The knockback ticking damage, you can actually line of sight it just fine around here. So you just kill them all. Time Master Spell nicely, hopefully. Hopefully. I guess not. I guess we just eat it. Yeah, now we can't lose it because he's just still in a bad position, but now, after he is put here, you can line of sight the damage. Not the knockback, you can still get knockback, but the damage you can dodge. The druid seems very, very, very serious in letting us know, yeah. Now you can dodge it. And that's it. With the bird dying, it's the last of the thrash. The rest you can just skip. Guess with what you can skip the rest? Well, with Mind Suit, of course. Although, you can kind of need an invisibility potion as well nowadays, after the change to Mind Suit, I think. Yep. I do have my own, so that guy over there that detects stealth, you can still just go around it. So, odds on someone dying because he gets the charge item and just kills himself with it. Usually, as a paladin, if I get the charge item, I do one of two things. Thing number one, I just go and pick up another treasure to overwrite the charge, so I can just use something else. Or thing number two, I just bubble and charge. So one of the two, depending on how I feel like. The other issue in this fight is the dot, the molten gold, that together with the curse is gonna tick for a lot of damage. Even in fortified, it's still dangerous. So first goes nicely. I'm gonna use Daybreak here just so I can spam the multi Holy Shocks on him when he's taking more damage. Now I have the wand, so again I dodge the charge. Again, the molten gold is the danger for you as a healer, to look at the target with the molten gold. There's the wand, there you go. Have anyone dying? Nope. We have no combat rests, so it's kind of spooky if someone dies here. We have the time, we have like 4 minutes, but you can get overrun if DPS start dying. Molten gold on the priest is sticking for a lot of damage. He should have used any of his defenses, honestly. Yeah, that's a bit late. Vampiric Embrace also would have helped here, but I guess he doesn't feel like it. Now he uses it. Now I have the charge. I don't see treasures too close. There is one there. No, he's taking it. So never mind, I'm gonna charge. I let the evoker take it. Yeah, it's not that nice to see the boss at 18% HP and see that the druid has both of his defensives unused, the evoker has all of his defensives unused. You know, it could have helped to use them once in a while. Come on, druid. You have bark. You have survival instinct. Use them. Use them once. Oh! Someone died. What was that? Was it charge? Yeah, that was charge. Surprise. But yeah, so despite the 11 deaths, we had 1 minute left to the key, and it was timed. That's to show how lenient nowadays keys have gotten, considering high keys nowadays are like in the 30 plus level, so even at 26 with almost a dozen deaths can still be timed with a couple of minutes left, despite the 11 deaths. So that was today's key on this Tuesday, guys. As the Hearthstone finishes, goodbye.